pace of endocrinology is nothing like A&E. Every time that the patient gives you an extra symptom or something to work with, she's always got these differentials in her head, because that's helping you figure out what kind of questions you want to ask next. But I have had to start cutting down the amount of caffeine I have in a day, because last week I was getting intense palpitations and I thought I was gonna die. It is expected following having a vaccine that...
Baby, you're such a fibber.
You do feel feverish. What? Why?
It's nothing to do with how much alcohol you had last night.
That as well.
That's more it.
Okay, that is what it is.
Everything's short if you're really small. Oh no, everything's short if you're really big. So if you're small enough, then everything is big. So it's not really the short straw.
I have no idea where you went with
It's
that.
all about perspective.
Good morning and welcome to this not so busy Thursday and Friday, 2 days in my life as a medical student on clinical years on a endocrinology rotation in North Manchester, and it's currently 9 AM and I've got to go to the hospital and be there in half an hour. Oh my god, how unreal is that coffee machine? I absolutely live for it, but I have had to start cutting down the amount of caffeine I have in a day, because last week I was getting intense palpitations and I thought I was gonna die. So that is why now I'm limiting myself to only a cup of tea in the morning with my breakfast. I make one coffee and I put it in this flask for my day, because without this, I am a non-functional, dysfunctional human being. But good morning and welcome to this 2 days as a medical student in third years, clinical years in the UK. How's my endocrinology placement been so far? I'd describe it as slow, much slower than A&E, of course, because A&E is the complete opposite. It is 100 miles an hour all the time. And endocrinology, as you can imagine, is very, very slow because it's dealing with people with diabetes, with thyroid problems, with adrenal issues, basically things that aren't necessarily a medical emergency and doesn't require people scrambling around a hospital ward, figuring out what investigations are necessary and what treatment's necessary to prevent someone immediately dying. Endocrinology is a mixture of hospital wards with patients that have been in there potentially for a few weeks, and clinics. So clinics are a place where you're basically sat in with a consultant, a nurse, and you're just seeing them review patients. So patients will be an outpatient, they'll come in to the clinic to just have a checkup with the consultant. And obviously, as you can imagine, it's very, very slow paced. So yeah, I can't say I'm absolutely loving this placement, just because I did like the mayhem and the craziness of A&E and all the learning opportunities that offered. But, you know, it's still an important part of the process. It's still important to show me and experience different aspects of medicine. And for that, I'm enjoying it. If you're wondering what I pack inside my bag, it is 2 sandwiches, protein yogurt, and a Baby Bell. And my water bottle with a filter on it, stethoscope, of course, and my coffee flask. Good morning! Hello! Look who's there hiding. Oh, she's just woken up after a 12-hour rest. And she's so sleepy, aren't you? Why are you so snoozy? Go back to sleepy pies. Go and dream nice things. And also my scrubs, ID badge, and a little light for any kind of neuro exams. Oh! Alright, Angel. Helmet, check. Don't want to end up in A&E. Bye-bye! See you later. So I've just arrived to a hospital because I've got a 2-hour clinical debrief session with a GP, which is good because it's finally with a GP. Obviously my last block at A&E was with a sexual health nurse, so we didn't really gain as much value. But we had one session with her last week because this is now my second week on this endocrinology placement, and it was really helpful just sitting in with a GP and having them, explain to us what kind of questions we should ask to be more specific with our own illness scripts when talking to a patient, and just helped us better understand the kind of things that we were seeing on the placement, observing on the wards, and why we were observing them and why we'd ask this certain questions that we'd ask. So I've got that for 2 hours, and then in the afternoon I have just ward sessions talking to patients, examining them and doing all that good stuff that you do in a hospital. So big day ahead. Okay, so I finished my debrief, just had some lunch, done some class med. Now I'm going to the ward to speak to some patients. So it is 4:20 and I'm just wrapping up at the hospital now. Pretty uneventful day actually. From 1 o'clock I went to the wards, spoke to a few patients, did some bloods as well, a few VBGs, which I really like doing because it's practical. But yeah, really slow. The pace of endocrinology is nothing like A&E. I'm gonna head home. Let's talk about today. It is 5 o'clock and I spent the whole day at the hospital, obviously starting with a clinical debrief session with a GP. I'm really seeing the value in having these sessions. It's so good because basically what we're doing is we're breaking down a patient presentation that one of us in the group have experienced in the week. So by speaking to a patient, someone's taken a full history, and by sitting down with the doctor and doing the exact same process with them, the doctor starts to ask the group, so why are we asking, is there pain on breathing, pain on inspiration? What might that indicate? And actually it's a really helpful task because she was explaining to us, this GP in the session, that the reason that she does this is because every time that the patient gives you an extra symptom or something to work with, she's always got these differentials in her head. Always thinking about the differentials because that's helping you figure out what kind of questions you want to ask next. So this is what I'm finding really helpful because obviously preclinical years, you learn about the structure, you learn about how to do a history. The start of year 3, you just remember your history taking skills and you just follow a structure. But at this point, and obviously with these clinical debrief sessions with the doctor, she's helping us tie in the edges as to why we're actually asking these questions and starting to refine our history taking skills as to why it's important, because at the end of the day, we need to figure out what's going on from the limited bit of information that the patient's going to tell us. They're not going to know. They're not going to know that the fact that they're vomiting might be to do with pancreatitis, it might be to do with gastritis, it might just be gastroesophageal reflux disorder, it might just be, reflux or anything else. Like, you've got to figure it out. It might not even be stomach pain, it might be abdominal pain, it might be chest pain. So really helpful and really interesting. I definitely enjoyed that. After that, I went to the postgraduate center, just did a little bit of work there, working on one of the TCD weeks. I think I'm at week 3 and currently we're on week 6, which is really bad. I'm so many weeks behind. But then after that, I went on the wards. Now, the wards in the endocrinology placement is very different, as you can probably imagine, to the A&E rotation that I had last rotation. As you guys know with A&E, it is just a constant influx of new patients, and the doctor's job is literally to refine who are the emergencies and who aren't the emergencies and who can just be treated and discharged. Here in the wards of the endocrinology placement, these patients tend to have been on the ward for maybe a week, up to 2 weeks, sometimes even 3 weeks. So a lot of these patients are kind of fatigued, they're tired, they're fed up of talking to people, giving people the same histories, especially if it's medical students. You can just tell in terms of sometimes the histories that you're getting, they seem a lot more unstructured sometimes just because the patients have just given that many different histories, and sometimes they start developing new problems. So one today was telling me about leg pain, and that was excruciating for them. And actually they were in there because of a COPD exacerbation. It's completely separate, but they kept going on about this leg pain. Said, I've been a little bit short of breath, but my problem's my leg pain. I really need it sorting. And in reality, they just needed some analgesia for this leg pain that they basically developed by being in hospital all the time. So, you know, am I loving this placement? Coming from an A&E ward, really, it is so different. Like, I'm so used to just having so many opportunities to do different skills, like all 9 of my UPSers. Obviously, I've got them all ticked off within my second week. I've done 9 out of 10 UPSers, only the scrubbing up for surgery, which I can do in my surgery block. Everything else I could do all the time, like in every single A&E placement, I could do all of my UPSers. To be honest, like today, I did 3 VBGs, 3 bloods, and I can do those completely unassisted now, so that's really exciting. But, you know, everything else you're not really going to have the opportunity to do on the wards. And to be honest, all the patients already have treatment plans, they already have management plans. It's never as exciting. You know, in A&E, I really felt like I was contributing to the team because I would have to speak to patients, do histories, present it to the doctors, and that would help them form their differentials. And then sometimes if they had any more questions, they'd just go in and speak to the patient and just ask a few more things, do a little exam, and then just sort them out. But like here, you know, a lot of the patients already had treatment plans, a lot of the doctors already know what's going on, and to be honest, because it's 1 ward or 2 wards, if depending on what wards you're on, there isn't a huge number of patients really to choose from. A&E, there's endless, there's hundreds coming in, hundreds of opportunities to see all sorts. Here, there's really not that much. But anyway, I was there for about 2 hours, simply because I was doing loads of skills, loads of bloods, but also I just needed to get 2 sign-offs done for this week, 2 more patient assessments, and now I've done all my patient assessments, so that's really exciting, because I am on track to do everything that I need to get done for this block, which is good, as you can see there. I have all my patient assessments for number 2. I've got my standard presentation, or I did another one today as well, and 3 physical exams. So, you know, I've done 2 things ahead because you can do things in advance. But again, let's just have a cheeky little look at my UPSers. Look at that. That basically says level 3. This is how many I've done to level 3. I actually did another venipuncture so I can sign those off today. But yeah, like so many, I've got them all done, and that's because of A&E. So yeah, there you go. Productive day, and that's endocrinology, really. That's this rotation. Very different to A&E. Nowhere near as exciting. Still got to be done. And so I've just finished reviewing a video on my travel channel, so if you guys want to watch that, make sure you click on that card up there. Bangkok series, so much fun with Jenny, my girlfriend, so really cool. But for tonight, I'm going to call it a day there with any work because it is my friend's birthday and I've not seen him in ages because Elliot has been placed at the Preston campus, because as you guys know, if you study at Manchester Medical School, you could get sent to Preston out of one of the 4 teaching hospitals, and unfortunately him and Rahul have been sent over there. So we're going to go over to Tommy's house, have a few drinks, have some fun, even though it's a Thursday, and yeah, call it a night there, have some drinks, and yeah, just have a good night with them. And we've got a guest on the show today, introducing Rahul. You've not been on the vlog in a very long time. What's going on, man?
Been on sabbatical, bro.
You have? Where have you been?
I call it like a wellness retreat at Preston Hospital, where I've been on the renal ward. You know?
And how unfortunate is that you ended up in Preston? Out of the 4 teaching hospitals you can end up for your clinical years, Rahul pulled out the short straw, didn't you?
Listen, everything's short if you're really small. Oh no, everything's short if you're really big. So if you're small enough, then everything is big. So it's not really the short straw, you know what I mean?
I have no idea where you went with that.
It's all about perspective. All about perspective.
But are you basically saying you live with the short straw?
I mean, compared to your bigger straw.
Oh, for God's sake! Please tell everyone on the vlog, all the first, second years people that are thinking about clinical years, is Preston really known for its teaching? Because you always hear it, the teaching's better in Preston. Let me know. Yeah. How is it? How is the teaching in Preston?
I think it's good. I think I can't compare it to MRI or any other teaching, but I do think that the leadership of the Preston Trust is fantastic.
Really? In what way? In what way?
They're just so receptive to conversation and dialogue with students.
So you can just go up to a doctor, have a teaching session, and...
Bro, so yesterday evening, we're meant to have 2 personal study blocks in the week. Yeah. And I sent her an email because during my personal study blocks, there were mandatory teaching scheduled this week. So I didn't actually get personal study. And we had to be in a lecture at 8 o'clock tomorrow. So I sent her an email. And in the morning, I showed up for the lecture. And the director came over to personally apologize to me for the scheduling conflict. Okay. That it shouldn't happen. They just care so much about their specific students.
I think it's very much dependent on the rotation you're on as well. I don't know about the teaching in general, but for each rotation, it's been very different. Yeah. My A&E rotation last semester, we had a teaching session 4 out of the 5 days for an hour each day. Dude. And it was specific to emergency acute medicine. So sepsis, trauma, heart failure, cardiac problems that are specific to A&E. So it was all very relevant stuff, so really, really cool. But this placement, endocrinology, we get like 1 teaching session a week, and it's very non-specific. It's like an abdo exam. It's like a cardiac exam, and it's stuff that we've all seen before, and we don't have much else.
Yeah. Well, that's one other thing I didn't know before. Preston is the only hospital that doesn't allow third years into A&E. So if you're super A&E keen, you're not going to get an A&E placement.
So unlucky. Out the entire time.
Yeah, well, I think maybe 4th year you do, or 5th year you do get some time, but it's definitely less than other hospitals.
A&E's the best thing.
Yeah, because it's so full.
We're going to enjoy some wine, and we're going to spend some time over at Tommy's and see where the night takes us. Good morning. Drank way too much yesterday, and it's now 11:30. And I've done absolutely nothing all morning other than rest my weary head in bed. Today, I've got lots and lots of things on, lots of things to do. I've got a flu jab at midday, 12. I've got a themed clinical discussion, TCD session from 1:30, which is where we're going to be breaking down this week's case, which has been on hemoptysis, so coughing up blood. Then, after that, I've got a secondary component teaching, which is all about drugs and prescribing, because we've got to do that. And then after that, I'm going to work out, and then I've got a meeting with my therapist. So, really busy day, and that will mean I get home after everything at about 9 p.m. Alright, so with my breakfast, I'm going to do some past med questions on case 1. Still, I created a question bank on past med. With all the main topics on content map on OneMed, and I'm just using PassMed to do question banks on them, so that's pretty cool. So if you look at week 1, you can see all the concepts that I've put down that are relevant to that, which is anaphylaxis, ABGs, pneumonias, asthma, chest drains, pneumothorax. So yeah, it's pretty cool on PassMed that you can do that. And to be honest, that's all the work that I'm doing right now. So. TCD to SCT, learning about prescriptions and medications. Hello.
Hi.
How's your day been?
Better now I've seen you.
Oh, my day, on the other hand, has been a very lethargic one, and that's primarily because I had my vaccines, right? I had my flu jab, I had my COVID jab, and to be honest, I feel a little bit lethargic after it. My arm is sore, and it is expected following having a vaccine that
Baby, you're such a fibber.
you do feel feverish. What? Why?
It's nothing to do with how much alcohol you had last night.
That as
That's
well.
more it.
Okay, that is what it is, but also I'm telling everyone all day, oh, I had my COVID jab, I had my flu jab, and that's why I feel under the weather. You're right, I went out last night and I drank way too much, but it was great seeing everyone, so that's fine. Today's sessions, the TCD was on hemoptysis, which is coughing up blood. It's all about like lung cancer, bronchiectasis, conditions that result in, coughing up blood. And to be honest, this is the first time that I really felt like I was not aware of what was going on. Like previously, I've been so quick, so knowledgeable about everything in terms of the cases, but this is the first time that I just didn't feel very switched on. I'm worried it's because I'm starting to get really quite behind on the content that I've not done and revised for, because we've moved now away from breathlessness, which was the first 4 cases, into things like chest pain and lung cancer and different things. So I really need to reevaluate how I'm studying, how I'm using the resources like PassMed, and how I'm using the content that's provided to us online. But then after that, we had a secondary component teaching session on prescriptions and medication reviews. And to be honest, I don't love how the sessions are run. The reason is because we do these sessions as a kind of activity-based session, but there'll be like 7 or 8 different tracks in one room, and there's 6 to 8 people in a track. So there's a lot of students in a room sat around tables, and then we'll have someone running that session telling us about the activities that we need to do. But that basically means there's not much one-to-one time. There's not much opportunity to ask the facilitator like any questions if you are struggling with what you're doing. And to be honest, I had a bit of difficulty understanding the task and the activity. There wasn't much facilitation there, and I do feel a little bit in the dark about actually how to do that prescription review. Yeah, I do feel like this is something that I need to get good at, because it is one of the, or 2 of the stations that we will be examined on in our CCAs, 2 of the 16 stations. But yeah, prescription reviews is something that I do need to read up on and figure out how to do, because I don't necessarily feel like today's session has helped me per se. So yeah, that was that. Haven't managed to get to my workout because, again, don't feel great, but did speak to my therapist for an hour, which was really nice. I found that really, really helpful, just speaking to them about my week, challenges that I've had, how I'm staying on top of it, and just having someone else to speak to other than my girlfriend, because the only person I speak to right now is my girlfriend. There's nobody else in my life, unfortunately. So, and yeah, what are we gonna do now, sweetheart? I'm gonna come to the shops with you. Why?
Because we can catch up on your day. You can tell me about it when we walk to the shops.
True.
You can help me carry the bags and do the man things.
And that is because I've not really spoken to you all day, isn't it? It's not very good. I'm really sorry, baby. It's just been very busy. This is my life right now. Like, I'll get up, I'll dash off, and I'll be gone all day. I've not eaten anything at all day. All I had was my breakfast, and then now it's like, what time is it now? 7 p.m?
Yeah, you need to.
We're gonna go to Aldi and make curry and enjoy the curry and eat the curry. Anyway, that's the plan. And okay, so I think this is where I'm actually going to wrap up today's video. It is nearly midnight on Friday night. I've really not done any studying today. I've just felt really tired, lethargic, and I've spent a lot of time just building my DJ playlist, because I've got a new job starting next week at a place called Phoenix, brand new venue, and I'm playing there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Beautiful, beautiful venue. You guys should check it out. But as I say, that's where I'm going to wrap this one up. So if you've enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe as well to see more weekly videos from me. But as always, I'll see you in the next one.